Alrighty, good morning. Good morning, Matthew. I can see that you're here nice and early. You've been sitting there for a little while. Just waiting to see if there's anybody else arrived as yet. And if you happen to be here, hi Tish, welcome. How are you? You what is it? Face fuchsia flower shape. Oh, I see. So basically, in what I'm looking at, I can't see the little emoji that you posted. It just gives me a description of it. So apparently you posted a face fuchsia flower shape. There you go. You didn't know that, did you? Hi, Cindy. Good to see you. Lovely to see you from sunny, steamy Detroit. Oh, sounds appealing. There's not the steamy part. Hi, Mary Lou. Great to see you. And Tish, put in a purple posy. Maybe I shouldn't try and read all the little emoji descriptions. And hi, Emily. Great to see you. All right. So what we're going to do today is I've got two videos for you. The second one is the replay of the Hago tour that I did in Sydney 3 years ago. It was the one where I was meant to meet Alex at Lady Macquarie or Mrs. Macquarie's chair for sunset. He was cruising up the coast of New South Wales. He had planned to do some parasailing or something just to the south of Sydney, and he was going to come down for that, do a sunset at Lady Macquarie's chair, which I had discovered that he was doing on a different platform. It wasn't Hago. I forget what it was, Beams or something maybe. So I thought, okay, well, this would be a great opportunity. We'll get together. I'll do Hago. He can do his other thing. We'll sort of stream together, interview each other, that sort of thing. But the weather was really bad. The parasailing got cancelled. He didn't end up coming to Sydney, and I did the event on my own. So that's coming up as the second event. The first one is digging back into the archives. I've had to kind of spend a lot of time editing it because the quality of this old video is never great. And in this particular case, it had been raining as well. I've managed to get it down to, I think it was 12 minutes. And what I'm going to be doing, I'm doing something a little bit different again this time, is actually I've taken a lot of notes. I'm going to be reading them because there was no way that I could remember them all. And it's basically a visit to Somerset in the southwest of England. And hi, Natalie, and hi, Ronnie Lynne. Great to see you both here. So that's how it's going to go. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. I've practiced the timing of my notes and my note reading. I may sometimes have to pause the video just so that my note reading catches up with the video. I hope it's watchable. Let's see how we go. So yes, and my eyesight is struggling a little as well this morning. I've been putting eye ointment, which is horrible stuff, in my eyes for the last 2 days, and it's got me going like this a lot, and I seem to be producing way too many tears or something, I don't know. So I sometimes have to squint to read. And I'm in a state. All right, let's see how we go. I've got my notes here on my phone, and we'll kick it off. So let's see. We'll bring this up. I'm going to bring this up here and do this. Okay, there we go. So, welcome to Somerset in the west of England. We start in the village of Selworthy. I might just change it to that one. It's a small village, 5 kilometres from Minehead, and the name Selworthy is derived from or means the settlement near the Willows. We come firstly to the 15th century All Saints Church, and here's how it looks today. It was recorded in the Domesday Book as Selworthy and was passed from Queen Edith of Wessex to Ralph de Limesey by William the Conqueror in 1066. The town we see today is a National Trust village, mostly constructed in 1828. And I'm just going to pause that there. This is what's going to happen. I'm not very good at this, am I? So it was constructed constructed as a model village for the elderly and infirm of the surrounding area. The buildings are mostly lime washed with a tint of yellow ochre, which gives the lovely honey colour, and they're all roofed in thatch. So thanks for being up at 6 a.m, says Cindy. Yeah, it seems to be a regular thing these days. It's partly insomnia and partly trying to get the time right for my UK as well as American viewers. So people in the UK, this is quite, it's getting late. It's getting later in the evening. How are we doing so far? Is this reading thing working or not? So this is Selworthy Cottage. It would help if my phone didn't go to sleep too. This is Selworthy Cottage. And this is how Selworthy Cottage looks today. We were there on a visit with my parents. They had come from Australia and visited us in the UK. They were there for, I think it was 3 weeks. And we took them out to Somerset. We were still working, of course, so they had to keep themselves occupied during the week, and then we took them out on weekend trips. Excuse me. So the notable buildings in the village include Periwinkle Cottage, and this is Periwinkle Cottage that we're just walking alongside, and this is what Periwinkle Cottage looks like today. And of course the 14th century All Saints Church. Now we've moved on to Allerford. Allerford is another small village in Somerset. Mostly it's stone construction, and the notable thing is this delightful little bridge, which is called the Packhorse Bridge, and it sits on the Aller River, and it's also a National Trust town. So the bridge apparently dates from the Middle Ages. And you can see all the rain on the lens of the camera. Hi, Marianne. I just saw someone said, hi, Marianne. Hi, Marianne. So that's my dad there 30 years ago, and that's my mum. And this was, well, 1991, yeah, 30 odd years ago. They would have been in their late 50s, just coming up to 60 sort of age, around about the same age I am now. And that was the Allerford Packhorse Bridge as it looks today. All right, so this is where we were. I don't know if you can see this very well, but up here on the left are the 2 pins, the red one and the green one. That is Selworthy and Allerford. And what we're looking at here is, to the north is Wales, and to the west of the other 2 pins is Bath and Bathampton, and that's where we're off to next. All right, so here we are in Bath. This is the Great Bath. And where are we? I do actually have music on this, but I think I've turned it down so low that you can't hear it at all. I don't know. Can tell me if you can hear music. So we're still in Somerset. Bath is still part of Somerset, and it's the Roman bathhouse was the purpose of our visit there. And the central part of the complex is the Great Bath. Now, this is obviously Roman. It was first built in AD 65. It was in use by the Romans for about 300 years. No music here. Oh, all right. So I've turned it down. The other day it was too loud and no one could hear my talking over the music. So I've obviously turned it down too far. I'm not a sound engineer. I don't know how to work with sound. So the lower level here is the original Roman. It wasn't discovered until the late 1800s. So it was actually built on top of. Most of the site is actually below the current street level, and then it had things built on top of it. It wasn't until there was a leak in the King's Bath, the Georgian era King's Bath, that the city investigated and discovered all these relics. There was things that were offered to the goddess, in fact, the goddess being originally the old Celtic goddess Sulis, who is the goddess of water and health. and then they adopted Sulis. The Romans adopted Sulis and attached their own goddess Minerva to the entity, so it became Sulis Minerva. And it was all heated from underneath. So what we're looking at here is beneath the main bath, where the fires were lit, and then the warm air was fed underneath the pool to heat the water. And Emily says, someone I follow on Instagram from Alberta was just in the UK, and she posted the baths too. Aquasulis was the name of the town, Matthew. Well done. And the name of the people that lived in the area, so it became Aquasulis. So I'm back. I've gone way off track with my notes, by the way. So these is what they called the hypercosts, and the wind, the air was fed around and through between these heated tiles beneath the pools to basically what you could do. What the Romans used to do, they used to go there every day to bathe for cleanliness, and they would start with the tepidariums, which was sort of slightly warm pools, and then they would go to the caldarium, which was the hot water pool, and then they would come out, and someone would massage them with olive oil, and then scrape their skin down with a metal scraper. So they were very clean. The Romans of that in Bath around about that time. What is Sarah's saying? About 7 to 8 years ago, I went to Bath for a few days, and it's beautiful, isn't it? It's quite an amazing construction. So I've gone way off script with my notes. Forget my notes, obviously. I'm just trying to see whether there's anything I need to catch up with. Oh, the circular bath used to be an entrance during the 1st century, and then in the 2nd century they did a whole heap of improvements. This is the circular bath here, and they turned this into a plunge pool. So it was cold. You would come out of the tepidarium and the caldarium and jump into the cold plunge pool, and that's what this was here. And there was also a thing called a laconicum, which was like a dry sauna. So there were sweat rooms and saunas and all of that sort of thing there as well. The east baths, I'm just looking, the west baths. I've got all these notes here, the circular bath. And the steam that we're seeing here is because that water is hot. It's being fed from a natural spring. It goes through the baths and it goes drains out to the Avon River. But it's hot water and it's open air and it's cold air, so it creates this steam that sits above the water. Yes. When it was operational, there was a 40-foot dome that above it, and here we can see the spring that flows from the natural spring flows into the pool. It is beautiful, Sarah. And then looking up, this is actually Bath Abbey. So when you look up through the open roof, it's being overlooked by Bath Abbey, which was constructed after the Romans left in about 670 AD. So the Romans were there for about 500 years, around about that length of time. And then Bath Abbey, the first iteration of the place of worship, was built after they left in the late 600s. And now we come to the drain. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? So the drain is the original Flavian drain that still takes the hot water from the spring to the Avon River a few hundred yards away. There's an apparatus in the middle of that pool there that's monitoring the flow, which is a constant 240,000 gallons or 1,170,000 litres a day. And this is the sacred spring overflow. So in the 1st century AD, the Romans built a stone-walled reservoir around the sacred spring to supply hot water to the baths. Originally, the reservoir was open to the sky, but was later enclosed in a large building and covered over. And then there was the museum part of it, and there's all the remains, because obviously there were ruins, and there were sections of columns and arches that were discovered, and they've been placed in the museum. Matthew says Jacob's Ladder is on the outside of the Abbey Tower. You know more about this place than I do, Matthew, but then I was there 35 years ago, so I had to look a lot of this up. So the entrance to the spring building, the doorway and steps to the sacred spring were approached through a monumental arch, which no longer exists, except the pediments are still there, but the arch itself no longer exists. And a carving of Sol, the Roman sun god, occupied a pediment above this arch, facing an altar. So there were actually sections of the complex that were used for worship as well. And then we get on to offerings to the goddess, and there were many objects which were thrown into the sacred springs as offerings to the goddess. That was an image of some of the objects that were found. Metal pans known as paterae might have been used for making offerings of holy water. And they were inscribed with the letters DSM, or the words Die Sulis Minervae. All right, so that was Bath. It was only brief, I know. Now we move on to the village of Bathampton, which is only a couple of kilometres away from Bath. Actually sits on the same river and canal. And nowadays, if you look at images on Google Maps, you can actually see canal boats here, although I don't recall seeing any when we were there. You can see the canal there. And the reason that Bathampton is relevant to Australians is that it's the final resting place for the first governor of New South Wales, who was the captain of the First Fleet, Captain Arthur Phillip, who then became Governor Arthur Phillip. And his final resting place is in the cemetery around the church grounds. I think it's the Church of St Nicholas in Bathampton. And just looking along the canal here is, just in a moment, we're going to see how that building there with the chimneys looks today. So that's an image. You can see the canal boat just in the front there. This was a lovely pub. We went in there for lunch. I can remember having, I think it was apple and celery soup or something. Celery and blue cheese, some sort of soup that had celery in it. And I'm not a huge fan of celery soup, but it was pretty nice. And Matthew says, although there is a drag queen called Cheddar Gorgeous. I've been to Cheddar Gorge, okay? And that's not terribly far from here. Yes, Cheddar is pretty gorgeous. So here's the memorial to Captain Arthur Phillip, or Governor Arthur Phillip, who was buried here in 1814. All right, so that was that. That was it. Pretty brief. I'll just get that back up. So that was 12 minutes of Bath and Somerset. Are we happy to continue doing this from time to time? I've got loads. Honestly, I've got loads, and it's going to take me so long to edit it all. But I'm partly doing it for ourselves. It's obviously stuff that we haven't seen in a very, very long time, so it brings back memories for us. But I'm happy to bring it to you as well if you guys remain interested. Okay, so the next part of the show is we're in Sydney, and this is the part that Cindy's keen for. Cindy posted in our Facebook group an image, a fabulous image of her and her daughter on top of Sydney Harbour Bridge. So we are visiting now a spot, I'll just put that down, called Mrs. Macquarie's Chair, which is where the Governor Lachlan Macquarie's wife used to often sit and just watch the boats entering Sydney Harbour, and really just enjoy the outlook. from there. Now it's a far different outlook, but it's arguably just as beautiful, if not more so. So let's get started on
struggling with the old technology again.
on the second
It's
part.
typical, isn't it? Just spent 10 minutes watching a spinning wheel. Well, welcome to Sydney. And it's not exactly the kind of weather we were hoping for. And our special guest has made the decision to not make a special journey under the circumstances because this is what the sky looks like. But we're still going to see the beautiful lights coming on to the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House, even if we don't see the sun. The sun is due to set in about 20 minutes, but it looks like we might not actually see it. It might be a no-show. So let's see who's joined us. Hi, TM. Hi, Renee. Hi, Nicholas. Jenny. Anita. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Jenny. Hello. Hi, Mum. Mum and Dad. Hi, Sue. Hi, Julie, Judith, Helene, and Lorraine. All right, so we're just about to tick over. So let me just turn that camera around and welcome you to Mrs. Macquarie's Point, which is located at the end of a promontory right on Sydney Harbour. And before we begin, as always, I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting today on the traditional lands of the Gadigal people and pay respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. All right, so let's see what we're dealing with today. So we were going to have Alex join us, but he rang me this morning to say he's up the North Coast and his tour tomorrow is up the North Coast, and because his paragliding tour got cancelled this morning, it really was hard to justify making a special trip down to Sydney. So we're doing it solo. Never mind. And here's our two beautiful ladies, the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Let's get to a point where we can actually watch what happens to the city lights as they come on over the Sydney Harbour. And it's not raining yet. We're fully expecting that it will start raining, and because of that, I have cut the tour short as well, especially since Alex can't join us today. So we're just passing a strangler fig with all its aerial roots. The Moreton Bay fig is a signature tree around this area of Mrs. Macquarie's Point. And I'm not going to go around and show you Mrs. Macquarie's chair because as soon as I went round there about 10 minutes ago, my signal just took a huge dive into the harbour, as it were. All right, who else has joined us just now? We have Evie, Bronwyn, Faith, Janet, Eva, Vlasta, and hi, Louise. Louise is a guide in New Zealand. Welcome. So we're going to watch ferries. I'll tell you some facts. We'll watch the lights come on in the city, but the sun is a no-show. Never mind. So what we have over here, we're looking at Sydney Tower, which is now called Westfield Tower. Let's zoom in on that. And I'm actually hoping that I might actually do a tour from up on the viewing gallery of Sydney Tower. I'm still looking into that. Over on our left is the Botanic Gardens of Sydney, and some of you may recall that I've done several tours from the Botanic Gardens, which is the whole area from the Opera House right round to here is the Royal Botanic Gardens. A lot of these buildings are new construction, so they've literally gone up around the existing buildings, or they've replaced existing buildings. And then right over here, hi Angel, right over here we have the residence of the New South Wales Governor, Government House. Centrepoint, yes. It's the term that stays with me as well. I think it's called Westfield Tower now. They keep changing its name. So that's our Government House over there. And whenever the Queen was in town, that's where she would stay. So this is where we bring relevance in to the events that are happening right now. Okay, so the lights are starting to come on. Over on our right here, on the right-hand side, on the opposite side of the harbour, this is where you find Kirribilli House. Good evening, Susanna. We had the old spinning wheel again. Over on that point there, we have Admiralty House and Kirribilli House, and that's the residences, the Sydney residences of the Prime Minister and the Governor-General. And I might have them the wrong way around, but I think Kirribilli House is on the left and Admiralty House is on the right. But I might have that wrong. Here's a couple of ferries starting to come, taking people to Manly is the big one, and the little one's probably taking people to Mossman or Cremorne. All right, so Louise and Susanna as guides. If there's any other guides on that I haven't met before or who I'm not familiar with, along with Susanna and Louise, can you please pop your channels into the chat for me so that anyone who doesn't already know you can follow, and that way we all get to help each other. So yes, sunset is supposed to be in about 15 minutes from now, and it should come from that direction over there. So if we're going to see anything peeking through the crowds, oh, that's okay. You're welcome to, Susanna. I'm quite happy if you do. Hi, Edith. Look at all these ferries. I've got 5 in shot at the moment. This is a lovely way to get to and from work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in fact. Hi, Zareen. So that suburb over there is Kirribilli, and tucked in behind it. Well done, Louise. Thank you. You couldn't get out of that, Susanna. Over tucked in behind Kirribilli, we have Neutral Bay, and then if we continue around the harbour, we start to see suburbs like Cremorne and Mossman. And what I'm going to do is, I've got my umbrella hanging over my arm, just in case I need it. But while we're standing here, hi, Nicholas. Let's go through some of the facts about, first of all, the bridge. I've made some notes, so you'll have to excuse me. Whoops. Looking at the sea, looking at the harbour. Hold on a sec. Right, so the first thing to note, of course, is that it's the world's largest single arch bridge. Construction began on it in 1923 and it was completed in March 1932. So it was 8 to 9 years under construction. And it took 14,000 workers over 8 years to complete the bridge. So what we have there, what we're looking at is 53,000 tonnes of steel and 6 million rivets in that beautiful bridge over there. It, oh, and look at that, it's just taken a dive to 2 bars. I haven't moved and the signal's just dropped. When it was finished, it had already taken 272,000 litres of paint. Can you imagine that? And painting the harbour bridge is a constant exercise. So they literally start at one end and they are constantly painting it. Well done. Thanks, Bronwyn. Oh, it's jumped back up to 5 bars. There's no explanation for it. Let's just whiz across to the city while the lights are coming on. Let's have a look over here because it's starting to look quite beautiful. Hi, Morning Star. Okay, I think I'm zoomed in a little. I might just bump that out a fraction. There we go. City skyline with the Westfield Tower. Hi, Chandra Bali. Chandra, are you still a guide? I think you are. I always invite everyone now to pop their channel link into the chat so that we can all follow your channel and support each other as guides. All right, so looking back over at the Harbour Bridge, what else can I tell you about it? It's 134 metres high, and the span from Dawes Point on the left, just behind the Opera House, across to Milson's Point, is just over 500 metres. It's not the longest bridge, but it's the biggest single arch bridge. And most of you probably already know that Crocodile Dundee worked as a rigger on that bridge before he became famous. And what a rigger basically did was he would, as part of a team, erect the platforms and secure access for the painters to climb up on top and do their painting work. Nowadays, of course, you can climb the bridge for a price. Most dangerous job, yeah, back then. I don't think anyone's allowed up there these days without, what do they call it? The line. Of course, you can climb the bridge these days for a price. A mere $328 will get you a climb up onto that bridge. Yeah, I was just about to say, Susanna, 16 men died on the construction of this bridge. Workplace safety these days would help prevent those kinds of accidents, but back then we didn't have any of those rigorous oversights. What else can I tell you? 80% of the steel used to make this bridge came from the UK. I think nowadays we should be able to supply our own steel. You would think so anyway. And the 4 pylons are totally decorative. They serve no purpose in the support of the bridge. Yeah, probably. Yeah, they run several tours a day. I looked up their website yesterday for Bridge Climb. It's the same company runs Bridge Climb as owns Scenic World. If anyone has been on my mountains tours where we've looked at Scenic World or even experienced Scenic World, it's the same company now runs Bridge Climb. And their calendar, it appears to be probably about 2/3 booked up with bookings. The Dusk tour is usually the most expensive and most popular, understandably. Yes, things have changed, Jenny. I think, well, my mother did the bridge climb, I think. Is that right, Mum? You can confirm. I'm pretty sure she did the bridge climb, and I think it was about $90 when she did it. Yeah, and there's a similar one in Brooklyn, I believe, as well. So those 4 pylons serve absolutely no purpose whatsoever apart from decoration and for people to climb up. You can climb up one of the pylons. It's the southern pylon, which is nowhere near as expensive as the bridge climb. And the height of the bridge can vary by up to 18 centimetres, depending on the weather. So if it's hot, of course the bridge expands, and the actual height can vary accordingly. And what else was there? Yes. There was one person who fell from the bridge who survived. So he apparently must have been an Irishman. His name was Vincent Kelly. Apparently, as he was falling, he managed to somersault himself into a position where he landed feet first into the water. So he was still injured, but he wasn't killed. The steel came from Middlesbrough. Thanks for that, Judith. And it took more than 50 years to pay the thing off. In those days, the toll was meant to be for paying off the bridge. Nowadays, it's just for raising money for the government, I'm sure. Let's zoom in on it. The luck of the Irish. Yes, that's right. There was. I think it was the southern pylons. And I think he was practicing was it for a tightrope walking between 2 buildings or something in New York, which he did after this. So here we go. Let's get in nice and close. The Opera House is starting to look lovely with its lights on. Hi, Amy. And let's have another look at the city. Or we might zoom out a little bit. And I think I'll move to a position where we're not looking at this tree. Let's move around a little. We'll go over here. So all around here on Mrs. Macquarie's Point is paths. You can go down to the harbour level, or you can go even higher up where the cars pull in. There's a little coffee cart up there. Here, this is nice over here. Oh, what are they? They look like swans. Maybe? A bit too far away to tell. It's a beautiful park, Susanna. We can look down from here to the lower level. Hi, Noreen. And it's all built on top of this rock. So there's another viewing platform up there. I think if you want, you can get your wedding photos taken up on that platform there. It's rather nice. There's the little coffee cart over there. And if I was confident of the signal, I would take you over to look at Garden Island where the naval ships are. But it took a plummet down to 1 bar signal during my test. And I'm just not confident of going back over there again. Do you know, I think the open air cinema is down below me and around to the left. Why don't we walk down the stairs there? Take a look down there. Let's go down. Let's go down to the lower level. It's not raining. I've been watching the weather forecast for today all week. I was convinced I was going to be huddled in my car or something. Oops. Careful on these steps. Sorry, I'm just watching where I step down here. The steps are quite uneven at different heights as well. The wind's starting to pick up down here. This looks actually like a nice spot. I might stay here rather than go right down to the bottom. Look where the wash is coming up from the wake of the ferry. Whereabouts are you, Bronwyn? It's easy to take it all for granted, isn't it? It's always there, and you just sort of go about life and don't come in here. But it's worth it every time you do. Hi, Judy. Welcome. All right, so let's zoom in on the Opera House again. This looks like one of those dinner cruises over here. And in behind the harbour bridge at that point is Luna Park. I don't think we'll be able to get a good look at it, but it's kind of just tucked away around the corner there. Riverwood, I know where Riverwood is. My son's girlfriend's parents live in Panania, which is not too far from you. Look at that rock there. What I think I will do is go back up top and find a spot to sit, because I want to tell you about the Opera House now. Beautiful sandstone it is, isn't it? And look at the sandstone of the rocks that they've used for the wall here. It's really lovely. Yeah, well, I don't think we're going to see the sun. Right about now is expected sunset, I think. It's just too much cloud over there. Never mind. The harbour still looks beautiful. It is a small world, Bronwyn, isn't it? I'll go back up. I'm going to find a spot to sit. What's this helicopter up to? No idea. No idea what he's doing. Okay, let's get you a nice postcard of the Opera House with the Harbour Bridge. I think we can get it all into this shot here. I can't see behind this chat. Oh yeah, that looks like it's good. There you are. Hi, crayfish. I reckon there must be a story behind how you got that name. Is that right? Susanna, can you go and get Louise's link? She put yours in. Now you have to go and get hers and put hers in. There's a seat over there. Look at that. Just waiting for me. Hi, Ambrose. We're just at that lovely time of evening when the sky is still light, but the lights are coming on this in the city. No sunset, unfortunately. Too cloudy, but we can still sit and enjoy. Path to my left. Oh, where are we? This one just here? Is this where we're looking, Susanna? That's the path that heads back towards the State Gallery of New South Wales. Here we go. Oh, lucky you, Laurie. Excellent. All right, let me just tell you about, I'm going to get my book out, open up that page again, and we'll talk about the Opera House now. This is where you need 3 hands. All right, facts about the Opera House. So obviously the first thing to point out is that it's located on Bennelong Point. And Bennelong, of course, is a name of the first Indigenous person who actually acted as an intermediary between Governor Phillip and the Indigenous people. Thank you, Susanna. Well done. Sardines. Oh, with a bunch of outrageously drunk people, but yeah, we're still fantastic. I'm guessing you said there. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm past that. I don't think I could do New Year's Eve down here anymore, but it would have been fantastic to do. So Bennelong was, his name was Wullo, let me get this right, Wallarawara Bennelong was his name, and he was the intermediary who liaised between the indigenous people of the Eora Nation and Governor Phillip. So Governor Phillip valued him so highly that he actually built a hut for him on Bennelong Point. So that was Bennelong's house. And now it houses the Opera House. So that's the very shortened version of the history of Bennelong Point. In between it was also a tram terminus and various other things as well. Hi, Marcus. Hi, Robert. And Bennelong had a wife by the name of Barangaroo. Let me zoom in on the Opera House while we're talking. And if you can imagine around behind the Opera House, around the point, under the Harbour Bridge, that's where the locality of Barangaroo is now, named after Bennelong's wife. So the original cost estimate to build the Opera House was $7 million. That blew out to $104 million. And most of it was paid for with a lottery. There was the $5 lottery that helped to cover that cost of building the Opera House. The design for the Opera House was arrived at through a competition, a worldwide competition of architects, architectural designs. There were 233 entries in that competition. Just keeping an eye on these beautiful lights over here of the city. 233 entries, and the winning entry was by a Danish architect by the name of Jørn Utzon. He won £5,000 as prize money for his winning design. Jørn Utzon actually fell out with the government over creative differences, I guess you'd call it. And in fact, he never actually came out here and visited, which was a real shame. Such a stunning building. Apparently he got the idea by segmenting oranges, and he had this orange segments on the table in front of him, and they were his inspiration. Although now, of course, we compare it to looking at sails of a sailing ship, or even shells. It's a beautiful building, isn't it? So inside the building, there are a number of theatres and concert chambers. You've got the main concert hall. Interestingly, that was where Arnold Schwarzenegger had his very last Mr. Olympia, I think it's called, tournament title that he won in 1980 was in the concert hall of the Opera House. And those two little sails on the left are a restaurant, a really gorgeous little restaurant. Well, hardly little by comparison to the rest of the site. Apparently the site is large enough to, I don't know what I'm listening to there, some sort of bird. It's large enough for 7 A330s to park wingtip to wingtip on that site. Look at these ferries. I love the ferries. Well, it's well past sunset. The sun was a no-show. What else can I tell you? How many tiles are on the Opera House? Anyone want to hazard a guess at how many tiles there are on the Opera House? It's something like 1.3 million anyway. I'm just trying to find the figure I wrote down, and I can't find it now. It was opened in 1973 by the Queen, who visited it 4 times in total. And what is interesting is that when the Sydney Symphony Orchestra plays in the concert hall, the air has to be at a constant 22.5 degrees Celsius for the perfect tuning of their instruments. Apparently their instrument tuning is affected by heat and humidity. So if the temperature isn't perfect, it's for the strings, is it, Susanna? There you go. That I didn't know. But yes, that constant temperature has to be maintained. All right, so look how pretty it is now. Yes, isn't it? It's so gorgeous. So beautiful. Without the sun and without Alex here, there's not much more I can really tell you other than just standing here and looking at it, because it is so beautiful. I just love it when it's still light, but the lights are on. It's a perfect time of day. Can you walk closer to it? Well, yes, you can, but not right now. Basically, the gates to the Royal Botanic Gardens close at sunset, and without going through the Botanic Gardens. It's quite a long way round. So you would have to go up this road here to the art gallery, and then around past St Mary's Cathedral, along Macquarie Street past the Law Courts, down that road between the Botanic Gardens and the city itself. And then, yes, the path would take you all the way down to the Opera House. I've run tours in the Botanic Gardens. It's such a vast site that I've actually divided it into 3 separate tours. Kick that couple off the seat. Do you want me to walk a little along the path past that couple so you can see what it looks like? I can do that for you. Let's go a little way along there, and then we'll come back for a final sign off. Let's go past them. Walking along here is just lovely. Thank you, Ralph. I appreciate your support. All right, we'll go a little way along here and then come back, and then I'll say goodnight to you all. And I might even have some cheese and bickies in the car, because I told Mum, who's here listening, that I wouldn't need dinner tonight, because I was planning to have a picnic with with Alex overlooking the harbour. But he didn't show, so I'm just going to have some cheese and bickies. Here we go. Let's have a look. Yes, Judy, Alex was going to join me. We did a little bit of a sneaky. Alex had posted a tour at exactly this time on a different platform. So I took that as the opportunity to say, hey, Alex, how about I meet you there? But unfortunately, the weather forecast was bleak, to say the least. Yeah, this is a nice shot. Look at this. Let's get this pine tree out of the way. Come over here a bit. Thank you, Judith. Oh, the sails are just looking beautiful now, aren't they? I think some lights must have come on or something. There. I think that's about the best spot. Oh, we might get that pylon in. Here we go. How's that for framing? That's pretty nice. Gorgeous. I'm not even going to zoom in. I think it looks perfect just like that. Oh, wait on. No, we'll zoom in one. We'll go one step. There we go. All right, so there's your signature shot. And since we've cut it short, how about I turn around and say goodbye? I'm going to turn around and put me in front of the view if I can. Put my umbrella over there. Aren't we lucky the rain held off? There we go. Whoops. It's always disorientating when you get that mirror reverse image. I'm never quite sure what to do with it. 100 postcards. Well done, Ralph. Now, can you do me a favour and post those, please, in the Hago Voyages group? I'm going to try and... Oh, thank you, Susanna. I'm going to try and get this camera out a bit, out there, like that. Oh, come on. Let's get you in shot. There we go. There, that's better. There's a lot of rain forecast. I'm doing another Sydney Harbour tour tomorrow morning, and I'm doing a Narrabeen Lake tour tomorrow morning as well. I am crossing my fingers, and I'm really worried that I'm going to be drowned. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been lovely, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some of those gorgeous postcards, because, as I always say, I'm your legs. I've got the raincoat on right now, actually. Look, that's it there. Whoops, down for down, that one. Purple raincoat. I got my umbrella, which luckily I didn't need to use. And I'm your legs, but you're my camera. Please post those images in the Facebook group. And I look forward to seeing you on a tour tomorrow. If you love my tour, if you haven't been on one of my tours before, please hit the follow button for notifications of more tours that I do. And leave a review if you like as well. Always love to see your reviews. Thanks, Ralph, for the follow. And see you at Narrabeen or back on the harbour tomorrow, weather permitting. Got my umbrella. Look, got the big one today. And also, if you can spare it, I'm always very, very grateful for any financial support that you are prepared to give me. That's what allows me to keep going and bring more tours to you. Susanna is still doing tours. It's just that she's had to call off a few lately. Right, there we go. One last shot of the Opera House. You joined just at the right time, Joanne. I'm just finishing up. There we go. Just over here. Beautiful Opera House, all lit up. And I'm going to do a quick swing around to the left. Just to look at the city. Just need to get past this tree. All right, everyone. Bye for now.
All right. So how was that? It's always a bit of fun revisiting these old tours, isn't it? And who's left me early? The numbers dropped from 13 to 9. So whoever it was, you missed me saying live goodbye. Mary Lou, I missed you coming on. How are you? Lovely to see you. And yeah, Cindy, it's lovely to revisit these places that we've actually been to in real life as well, isn't it? And yes, you'd better contact me if ever you come back to Sydney. I will definitely come and I'll stand below and we'll stream you live. We'll pick you out of the crowd as you go up over the top of the arch again for your second visit. That would be absolutely fun. All right, yeah, you're still here, Tish. And lovely to see your. That is fun, Natalie. That this was your first tour with me, and I'm glad you're still with me after all this time. That's great. Okay, so I don't have actually anything scheduled right now. As you know, I'm staying off my feet. I'm climbing the walls because I really hate not being out there, and yeah, it's really frustrating. I just want to be out there walking and taking you with me, but it's something I really need to rest this ankle of mine. I'm sure I did it more damage by walking when I shouldn't have. But what I do have coming up, and I do need to schedule it, is who remembers when we wothered? Who remembers when we saw the dancing Kates celebrating Kate Bush's birthday, and we went to the Woodford Academy, and my daughter actually dressed up for the occasion, and they did Wuthering Heights. All the girls, all the people dancing in red, doing Kate's signature dance to celebrate her birthday. It's a thing. It's a thing all over the world now, and there's one coming up in Newcastle. So there's going to be a practice run of that next Sunday. So I'm going to go down there to the park, which is the park that overlooks the Bogey Hole. We've been there before. It's the park with the lovely rotunda and the pine trees, the Norfolk Island pines. They're having a practice this Sunday, and then the following Saturday is when they're actually doing the real thing. So I'm actually going to schedule that. I want to go down there and meet the organizer and just make sure that she knows who I am and she's aware that I'm going to be doing it. I mean, there won't be a problem. It's in a public place. There's lots of people, lots of cameras. It's just the fact that I'm live streaming. Emily, I'll try and find the original link to it. It's actually up on my public YouTube. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I've put that one on Buy Me a Coffee. Some of my tours I've been gradually adding to Buy Me a Coffee, so that it's just a small contribution to see replays. But the majority of my tours are still actually on my public YouTube. So yeah, it's that's coming up on Saturday week, which is going to be a lot of fun. It really is a hell of a lot of fun. And a friend of mine who's actually moved from the Blue Mountains up to Newcastle is going to try and be there as well. So we should have at least one friendly face that we know. There's also coming up in the Hunter Valley, I think it's towards the end of August. I need to double check the date. Highland Games. So I need to book a ticket for that. The problem with these events is that, first of all, I don't know what the signal is going to be like in the Hunter Valley. Second of all, I don't know which are the best events. It's an all-day event. It goes from like 9 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I just don't have the stamina to be able to do an all-day event. So I need to work out whether we do the kaiba toss or whether we do the keg throwing or whether we do the Highland dancing. I need to try and work out what's going to be the best event for us to be present for. So that should be fun as well. How do you say that, Natalie? Is it Donkeyvel? I think that's how you say it. Donkeyvel. I have no familiarity with Dutch, so I'm really sorry if I completely butchered the way you say that. I think it's Dankjewel. Okay. Oh, I got a thumbs up for that. Thank you, Natalie. So other than that, I've actually just finished editing the visit to the paper daisies. That was the beautiful mass planting of pink, yellow, and white straw daisies, paper daisies that we went to. I had a lot of problem with the signal there. I had to do a lot of cutting out of black and blank space in the video, but I've managed to pull together about 40 minutes, I think, 35, 40 minutes. And what I'd like to do is the same as I did today. So just find another clip. I think I've got the Bluebell Railway, for instance, that I might work on to be the second feature. So I'll bring in something from the archives, and then a repeat of a Hago tour. Is everyone happy if we kind of do the same as we did today? I think it works well, and there shouldn't be as much. I felt that if we're going to Bath, I had to kind of do it some justice and at least try and explain it rather than just looking at video of Bath. So I did a lot of reading and planned the notes for it. Didn't go exactly to plan. All right, everyone. I think that's enough of me rambling, don't you think? Thanks again for joining me this morning. It's been great to see you all, and hopefully I'll be able to schedule some of those events within the next few days. Cindy says, hope your ankle heals fast. It's not going to, Cindy. It's a torn tendon or ligament or something, and all I can really do is just stay off it because, and she says these tours are a nice alternative to live walking. Excellent. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Ronnie says, looking forward. Okay. And see you soon, Emily, to you as well. And thank you, Marianne. All right. Thanks, everyone. Enough of me rambling. I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.